Hello, my name is Diane V. Radel. I'm pleased to show you my show that's currently running until November 15th at the lovely Hermitage in downtown St. Pete, curated by the Morean Arts Center. My daughter and her family live in Melbourne Beach, where this photo was taken, and the stretch between Melbourne Beach and the Archie Carr National Wildlife Refuge is a little over 20 miles long. They have had over 20,000 nests so far this season. My daughter, grandchildren, and I went out after midnight on an inky black night, hardly any moonlight, and of course we don't use lights. But she pointed out these two dark shapes that were emerging out of the water. And I stood there on the beach with my generations and watched as this sea turtle lumbered up the beach, flipper pull by flipper pull, to nest where she was born for her future generations. And I had this moment that I still can't adequately describe, where I felt so connected to this turtle and the universe. There was this thread that was connecting this turtle and my grandchildren and every living thing all through time. We went out the next morning to look for her tracks, and we found them, this perfect swirl pattern in the sand. And I thought, in an hour, these are going to be gone. The wind or the waves or people will walk on them, and no one will know this mama was here. I had to say, I saw you, mama. I saw how hard you worked. I thought, I have to paint these. I have to document it. And I thought, you have to learn how to paint these. So that's what I did. I signed up for class, and the only class I could get was abstract expressionism, which I fell in love with. I sketch out the pattern of the tracks on canvas with black paint and then add layers of color and molding compound for texture, usually under the watchful eye of our golden doodle, Sylvia. I contacted Matthew Walker, the CEO of PixelStix, who had just developed technology that was going to be applied to the murals in downtown St. Pete. I asked him if the same technology could be used on my paintings. When you download the free PixelStix app on your phone, you point it towards my signature on my painting, and a video of me comes up holding a photo of the original turtle tracks that was the inspiration for this painting. So now come with me on a tour of this light-filled, beautiful gallery. The first painting you see on the left is Nascents, which means being born or coming into existence for the first time. It was based on these loggerhead sea turtle tracks. Native American Robin Waukemer writes in her brilliant book Braiding Sweetgrass about Sky Woman who fell through a hole in the clouds into the dark waters below. And as she fell, she saw many eyes looking up at her. Geese flew up and broke her fall, and a giant turtle offered his back for her to rest upon, and Sky Woman sang and danced her thanks. And as she writes, the earth was formed by the alchemy of all the animals' gifts, coupled with her deep gratitude. Yugen is an ancient word that originated in Chinese poetry, but it's been adapted into Japanese aesthetics. It is the indescribable, intense feeling you have when viewing something extraordinarily beautiful or seeing something that moves you to tears. It's a connection with the universe that triggers an emotional response that's too deep and powerful for words. Euteria is a word that was coined by Professor Glenn Albrecht. It means a positive feeling of oneness with the earth and its life forces, where the boundaries between self and the rest of nature are obliterated, and a deep sense of peace and connectedness pervades consciousness. This was inspired by a false crawl of a loggerhead sea turtle. She went up and suddenly turned around and came back. Maybe she was spooked by lights or people or noise. This is the closest description I found of my primordial moment on the beach 3 years ago, a moment that will define the rest of my life's work. Silivagant means to wander alone, as this mama turtle was. John Muir, who was instrumental in establishing 3 national parks, describes the epiphany he had when he made his first solo hike to Yosemite's Cathedral Peak. When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. One fancies a heart like our own must be beating in every crystal and cell, and we feel like stopping to speak to the plants and animals as friendly fellow mountaineers. As we see another shot of this beautiful gallery, we come upon Transcendence, which was certainly my night on the beach. This painting has 17 thin layers of acrylic paint on it, just layer after layer of blue to give it a depth and something that draws you in and makes you want to search further. But you can see from this painting that the mama turtle came up here, and then that's where her nest is, and then that's her path back. The title of this painting is Waiting to Begin. It's of a green sea turtle track. You can see the tail drag down the middle. Because I'm always trying to learn new things and experiment with styles, I took molding compound and outlined each texture with black paint and a number 2 brush. As we come through the gallery, you see distant sounds ahead and Makai on the right. Makai is a Hawaiian word that means towards the ocean. This is actually of a sea turtle nest, and at the very top you can see the tracks that went back to the ocean. It's also reminds me of the ocean and the fact that there's layers, and as you look down through it, you can discover new things. This painting is titled Distant Sounds because I feel like it almost has a sound wave quality. You can see the photo on the right of the original tracks and where I've added them across the bottom of the painting. You can also see a lot of animals and beings have come to the forefront that want to be included in this painting. It's also kind of a test because some people see a happy turtle swimming to the right and some people see a very determined turtle swimming to the left. On the upswing is a painting of Loggerhead Tracks. You can tell by the swirly motion. And this one has the most texture of all. I added like 4 layers of texture, just kept building it up, building it up. It has a very organic feel. And I continued the texture all around the side of the painting, as you can see. This photo in the gallery, you can see the second floor and the cool light at the top of the pole that changes 5 or 6 different colors. The title of this painting is Vivace. It's an Italian musical term that means brisk or lively. And while I take the subject of my painting very seriously, I like to use lively, bright, vibrant colors to give them a vitality or positivity. This painting is titled Back to Start. It's right before I started painting tracks only. You can see there's tracks underneath this one, as well as some abstract fish off to the left-hand side and all kinds of things swimming around in there. A little hard to get a photo of these 2 paintings because they were done with stainless steel iridescent paint and the light reflects back off of them. This painting, it's called One Ticket, One Ride. That's all we get, right? So we might as well make it mean something. There's layers of black glazes added over top of this paint and you can see the texture here. This painting, When Stars Align, as they did for me that night on the beach, also is the stainless steel iridescent paint with layers of black glaze, and you can see where I've continued the texture around the side, and the photo of the original tracks is pictured to the right. Over in this cozy corner is Uncontainable. It's a close-up of a sea turtle nest, but could also be light reflecting off the water. That's what I love about abstracts. It's whatever you want to see in them. In this coffee station area is Here's to the Infinite. It's of loggerhead tracks that are leading out of her nest. I feel like it's almost exploded and ran out of there, ready to head back to the ocean. Fernweh is a German word meaning longing for a distant place. It's kind of a homesickness. This winding path draws your eye upward to a path that we're free to imagine. American novelist and playwright Cormac McCarthy once wrote, "Between the wish and the thing, the world lies waiting." The Finest Day is a diptych that was painted to stack vertically. You can see her little swerve as she goes down a little ridge into the ocean. I was inspired by this mama and by David Byrne's song, co-written by Brian Eno for his Broadway show American Utopia, One Fine Day. I complete my task. One by one, I remove my mask when I am done. Then a peace of mind fell over me. In these troubled times, I still can see. We can use the stars to guide the way. It's not that far, that one fine day. Always had high hopes. Still do. This painting has all my favorite colors. There's a lot of friends and came to the surface in this one also. The little black lines started with me sketching them out and sketching like black areas saying, this will be dark. so that I knew when I went to add colors. And then I liked them, and now they stay. This sweet green turtle face is titled Ginny Ray. I named her after my mother because I think she's beautiful, and I think she would be very happy about that fact. Green sea turtle numbers have really increased since the Federal Endangered Species Act in 2016. This painting, The People You Meet, was created at a live painting event, and everyone that walked in, I asked them their favorite color, and I added it. You can see the photo on the right of the original tracks, and the sign on the left says, "Come to the Hermitage and see this exhibit," because this is hanging in the Morean Arts Center. I'm continuing to explore different ways to engage the viewer, not only in my artwork, but in sea turtle and ocean conservation. It is my hope that our future generations will be able to witness all the amazing things that we have seen. I'd like to invite you to view it in person at the Hermitage until November the 15th. Please take care of the earth and each other. Thank you.